Good day, my name is Richard and a warm welcome to Tutoring with Richard, where we cover the South African school syllabus and related topics. Today we're going to cover Mathematics N6. The topic of this tutorial is integration of trigonometric functions. Let's get straight into it. Okay, sine to the 3 2x. Okay. First things first, is what we have to do with this is state that the method is split this into sine squared and sine. That's the method. So sine squared 2x multiplied by sine 2x. Okay, now the identity of sine squared 2x. So, if you remember your identities, your identity is sine squared x plus cos squared x equals 1. So, if we manipulate formula, sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cos squared x. So replace sine squared x with 1 minus cos squared x, 2x, multiplied by sine 2x. Now what we need to do is multiply the sine 2x into here. So we're going to go sine 2x minus cos squared 2x multiplied by sine 2x. Now what we're going to do is we can integrate. Now we can finally integrate. So, sine is minus cos. So, now don't forget, when you integrate, you divide this number, not multiply it. Multiplying is for differentiation. So we go minus cos 2x over 2 minus. Now for this part, we are going to do u substitution because cos 2x can be u. U equals cos 2x. So, the differential of cos, du over dx, the differential of is minus sine 2x. Now we've done the differential, so it is 2 sine 2x. We've done the differential. So, now what we need to do is say u squared times sine 2x multiplied by du over minus 2 sine 2x. Okay. Sine 2x and sine 2x can cancel. They cancel with each other. Now we're left with minus a half. So, because we're left with minus a half, we've got minus cos 2x over 2. Minus times a minus is a positive, plus a half integral u squared. I'm just erasing to give myself some more space. Cos 2x over 2 plus 1 over 2. Now, u is 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1. Now what we'll get is minus cos 2x over 2 plus a half times cos 2x cubed over 3 plus c. Now what we need to do is multiply 2 times 3 times 2. So we have minus cos 2x over 2 plus 1 over 6 cos 2x over 3 plus c. And that is our final answer. And a quick word, all of these sums in any test you will write, any exam or test you will write, will not be above 5. The exponent will never be above 5. So, cos 5 2x. Okay. Dx. Now what we're going to have to do is what we can do to make it a squared. So what we're first going to do is take out 1. So cos to the 4 2x multiplied by cos 2x. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to say cos squared 2x squared multiplied by cos 2x. Now, sine squared x plus cos squared x equals to 1. Now cos squared is equal to 1 minus sine. So, the integral of 1 minus sine 2x squared, and that is all squared, multiplied by cos 2x. Now we are going to need some space here, because what we're going to do next is we are going to FOIL this term. We're going to FOIL this term. So the integral of 1 minus sine squared 2x multiplied by 1 minus sine squared 2x. Okay. I will do this as simply as possible. This is not complicated. Multiplied by cos 2x. Okay, now I'm going to write above here, but we're going to work from below. So 1 times 1 is 1. So we have the integral of 1. 1 times minus sine squared is minus sine 2x squared 2x, sorry. Then minus sine squared 2x is minus sine 2x squared, and then sine squared 2x times sine squared 2x is plus sine to the fourth 2x, bracket, multiplied by cos 2x. Okay, so what we have now is 1 minus 2 sine squared 2x plus sine 4 2x times cos 2x. So now we multiply cos x in. So cos 2x minus 2 sine squared 2x cos 2x plus sine the fourth 2x times cos 2x, the integral of. Now, wherever you see a plus or a minus, that is where you put your integral sign. So we are going to put our integral sign right here and right here. So, I think it's best to take this integral sign and move it over here. Okay, now each term we're going to, for these two terms here, for the sine squared and the sine to the fourth, we're going to get rid of cos. So, cos is sine, so that is sine 2x over 2 minus 2. Now sine squared. So what we have to do now is we have to make cos. What we have to do now is make cos u. We're going to do u substitution. Make cos u. So u equals sine 2x. du of dx equals cos 2x multiplied by 2. Right, so this is u squared cos 2x du over 2 cos 2x plus integral of u to the fourth cos 2x multiplied by du over 2 cos 2x. Right. Cos 2x and cos 2x cancel. Cos 2x and cos 2x cancel. Now in this case, we are left with 2. So, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So that cancels. Two divided by 2 cancels. So we are still left with a minus. So, sine 2x over 2 minus the integral of u squared plus, now that cancelled with that, we are still left with a half, so a half integral of u to the fourth. Now what we're going to do is sine 2x over 2 minus, now u was sine 2x. U equals sine 2x. So, now what we need to do is say u2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 plus a half of the integral of 4 plus 1 over 4 plus 1. Okay, so what we have now is sine 2x over 2 minus u cubed over 3 plus, now 5 times 2 is 10, so 1 over 10 u to the 5th power plus c. So now all we have to do is put our sign back in. Sine 2x over 2 minus sine 3 over 2x over 3 plus 1 over 10 sine 2x to the 5th power plus c. And that is our final answer. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm and to grow the channel. Positive feedback is most welcome. I enjoy reading your comments. Please use the comments section to let me know what topics you'd like me to cover in upcoming videos. Be at peace, be kind to each other, and remember, passing well is achievable. Have a great day. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.